Brisbane led out by Darren Lockyer. Loses last Sunday against the Bulldogs, 37 points to 30, a rare defeat on home soil. And now the Melbourne Storm, beaten well at their last two starts, but they have a good record against the Broncos. And they're in front of what is a very healthy home crowd today. Reconfigured stadium here from what we saw last Friday week. They've moved the lower deck in a lot closer, around about 18 metres closer. So it's more a rugby league crowd. Let's have a look at the teams for today. Paul Vaughton.
And the Melbourne Storm line up this way today. Robbie Ross is fullback, Mawala and Bai on the wings, Moole and Bill on the centres, Matt Guy is the 5'8", Matty Orford is the halfback, Denley Williams the lock forward, Rua and Kearney in the back row, Kearns and Howe in the front row, Richie Swain's the hooker, interchange of Perinara, Lavia, Robinson, Rorty, coached by Mark Murray.
And for the Brisbane Broncos, Lockyer at fullback and captain, Takiri and Saylor, Walker and Devere, Harrison and Walters, a new half 5'8" combination. Burns comes into lock forward, Sivanasiva and Carlaw, Webke and Corvo gets a start today. Prittis the hooker on the bench, Webb, Tate, Parker and Maguire, coached by Wayne Bennett.
Tony Archer referee for this round 21 clash. The Broncos going into today on 27 points, Melbourne on 18 competition points. And Robbie Kearns, their captain, with the first hit up of the match, almost back to the 20. The Storm have started very poorly their last couple of weeks, which is attributed to the big defeats. Early penalty on their 30-metre line and gives them an opportunity inside the Broncos half. And they are full of running early with Rodney Howe taking them all on. 3 in the tackle on the test, or the former test front rower, Rodney Howe. And now Robbie Kearns. 35 away from the Brisbane line and working to the right with Matt Geyer. He's got the number 6 on his back again. Second game at 5'8" since the 1999 Grand Final. And Swain to the right. Danny Williams turning inside for Matt Rua. They're inside the Broncos 20. And Swain left. The Broncos started well last week against the Bulldogs, led 12-0 early. And then it all started to unravel for them. Fifth tackle with Melbourne, and Matt Orford's kick, beautifully covered up by Lockyer, and passes away for Saylor. They have a confident trio at the back, Saylor and Lockyer and Takiri.
They certainly do. We've seen this a number of times this season. First of all, Lockyer beautifully in position, and then very quickly turns to his mate, Wendell Saylor, to get the ball out of trouble. They have great confidence in each other.
Well, some heavy defence from Melbourne. They have come ready to play. Rousing start from the Storm. And getting this crowd into the match early as the Broncos look to spread with Lockyer and Walker. And then on the inside for Takiri to do a little shuffle, but still inside the 20, and that's the fifth tackle. Well, this is shades of 99, the Melbourne defence, and Lockyer has to kick from 15 metres out from his own line. And on the bounce to Robbie Ross. Second game back from injury. Returns to halfway. First up there was Mark Corvo. Just inside the Broncos half as Marcus Bai gets a touch. That was the ladder going into this weekend. The Storm, though, dropped down to 9th with that win by the Warriors last night against the Bulldogs. And now Richard Swain for Kearney. Just creeps inside the 30, and again 3 in the tackle for Brisbane. Richard Swain, and with Orford, and back inside for Kearns. It was well read there by Webke. He was waiting for Kearns. And no chance of an offload. Again, it's the last tackle. And the Storm with Swain. Getting it away for Danny Williams. He had to pass there, was unable to do that. And the Broncos get a changeover, and very thankful for it.
Yeah, not the best finish to that set of 6 by the Melbourne Storm. Dummy half unaware it was the last tackle, ran on his own and pretty well snuffed out by the Broncos. The last set of 6 they had, the Broncos had a sneak go on that second last tackle out wide. The Melbourne boys are fairly compressed in defence. Brisbane try to get on the outside of them that occasion, and here they go again.
Spreading to the right now, Michael DeVere's into the play, and Wendell Saylor's got a bit of room down this right wing. They get across in numbers. Aaron Mills first there, Bai is there, so too Orford. And they drive Wendell back. Well, the crowd is really loving this start from the Melbourne Storm, and Burns follows up to the 40-metre line for Brisbane. It's vastly different from what we saw last week for much of the game against Parramatta from Melbourne. Kicker's got Ross wrong-footed on his own 10-metre line. Chase is good from Brisbane. Ready to run, though, the Melbourne Storm, and Bell, who signed a new 2-year contract on Friday with the Melbourne Storm. Queensland centre pairing, in fact, in this Melbourne Storm side. Rodney Howe, big hit on Howe. They got him. Dane Carlisle first there. Corvo was the second man in the tackle. And now Williams on the 40-metre line. I think he's done something to the hair for the television match today, Denny Williams. What's left of it. Stephen Kearney, and now the knock on, a dummy half from Robbie Kearns. That will take an edge off the momentum gain from Melbourne. It was the last tackle, so a changeover.
Yeah, problem there for the Storm, lack of communication. You want your dummy half in there on the last play. It's vital to get the ball back to your kicker, and that time a front rower bending down, trying to get something done quickly, came up with the error and an early opportunity for the Broncos.
And Luke Prentice back for Burns. So first time in possession inside the Melbourne half. They're 35 metres away. Very well to start, impressively defending at the other end of the field, but now the pressure to hold out this Brisbane side, and Lockyer's got them thinking twice. They've made the tackle and forced the error.
Well, he's called this one against Darren Lockyer. Some of the Broncos players pointing, saying it was knocked down by a Melbourne Storm player, but he gets in behind the defence here with a little bit of a dummy, has it available, and the impact of the tackle forces it out of his hands and out over the sideline. The Melbourne Storm have reverted to a very compressed defence, a slide defence, which is in total contrast to the up and in style they've had in previous years under Australian coach Chris Anderson. Now that does present some opportunities out wide, and the Broncos are getting a new look at the Melbourne Storm's new style of defence.
The Stormer with the ball just outside the 20. Harrison's been left behind for Brisbane here. So they're down one on the line. He's back on his feet now. Kearney, 5 metres inside his own half. Melbourne also have their problems at the moment. Matt Rua was receiving attention in back play. Orford with Geyer, and the wraparound with Matt Orford. Kevin Walters has got him. Third week back for Kevin Walters out of retirement. And now Rodney Howe. Another charge, this time on the blind side at Chris Walker. And Orford for Geyer, kicking to the wing of Wendell Saylor. Gets a favourable bounce, Wendell. Now he does his thing and links up with Lockyer, who's drifting towards Lottie Takiri. And in the end, a good tackle from Rodney Howe.
So dangerous, isn't he, Darren Lockyer? We've seen him do it plenty of times when he's turned defence into attack with kick returns. They handle him okay on that occasion. I was talking to Kev Walters before the game, and he was telling me he's as enthusiastic as ever. Still got that little bit of speed over the first 10, but of course it's between the ears where he's quick, and that's how he'll help the Broncos over the remaining 6 weeks of the comp. The veteran, there he is.
And even more so, Fatty, after the injury suffered by Scott Prince last week, losing the halfback. Kick out on the full here from Brisbane. So Melbourne have got the defending champions just a little rattled at the moment. Darren Burns is in all sorts of strife here.
Darren, you've got to go behind the line, mate. Take him behind the line.
Yeah, the referee's picked up Darren Burns there. He's got a nasty cut over the right eye. And Kevin Walters, his first look at Colonial Stadium, just missed where the sideline was there, kicked it a little too long. Provides a good opportunity for the Melbourne Storm, and they are dangerous from these set play situations.
Well, this is certainly the biggest crowd Melbourne have had at this ground this year. Been averaging around 11,500. And the team is living up to expectations of the big crowd as well. They get a penalty now 25 metres out. Harrison and Saylor involved in the tackle.
And a nice confident decision here by the Melbourne Storm, not going for the points. They want to get tries on the board.
Kearns has a dash at them and is able to offload. Now with Howe on the slide, passes for Orford. Then along for Geyer and kept going for Rua. On the inside pass for Bell. He's pushed back over the 20-metre line. No panic from the Broncos defence. Swain Field with Danny Williams. Almost got to call him blonde-haired now. Looking at Danny. 15 metres away from the Broncos line. Maybe it's his natural colour coming out. Here's Stephen Kearney. He's lost the ball on the tackle. That was tackle number 3. And Brisbane come up with the ball.
Always a chance when Stephen Kearney's got the football. He's always looking to offload. And just that late charge there from Shane Webke over the top knocked the ball loose.
Wait, Robbie.
Broncos, Wendell Saylor in the middle of the park. But at this point of the field, the Melbourne defence has been outstanding to this point. Keeping the Broncos running out of their own danger zone. That's 4th tackle. And Corvo's got trouble here.
There must be some very heavy hitting going on out there, because there are a number of players who have retreated behind the play to get medical attention before rejoining the action, and now Corvo can't get himself up after a great hit.
10 minutes gone here at Colonial Stadium, and the Broncos with their problems at the moment as Carl Webb prepares to come in to play for Mark Corvo. He's back on his feet, but he's seen better times. And that is the 5th tackle for Brisbane. Trying to weather some heavy defence from the Melbourne Storm. Lockyer's kick is not deep. And Rossfield's at 25 metres out from his line. Confronted by Harrison. Decides to give Marcus Bai an interesting manoeuvre. Well, Marcus Bai has stepped himself into awful trouble. He was getting lower and lower to the ground here, Marcus. Almost does the splits. Look at him go. Down he goes. He's unscrewed himself. And Melbourne are with it, 30 metres out from their line. Matt Rua. And Swain blindside with Rodney Howe, and now there's more troubles for the Broncos. Corvo's gone down in the defensive line, Fatty.
Mark Corvo can't run. He was just heading back into position there and fell over. Kearney out wide now, threatening Jones. He's lost it again, and said it went forward. Orford was away. Corvo's now left the field. He's limped off. Just watch him, just drifting back. There he goes, at the back of your screen there on the right-hand side, just fell over. So he's crook. You've got Darren Burns with a cut head, and also Ashley Harrison had some repairs on the run a while ago with some dislocated fingers. Got tape around his fingers on his right hand.
Brisbane back with the ball in their hands. And Lockyer along with Walker, then back in for Takiri. Just inside Melbourne territory. It's a little bare, the playing surface. Chief mentioned at the top, not exactly perfect. It's a little soft in here. And 5 metres inside the Melbourne half. And again, the Storm defence is up. Orford and Kearney getting a shot in there on Carl Webb. Sivana now. One test under his belt, and a winning one at that. 30 metres from the Melbourne line. Slow play the ball. Prittis infield with Kevin Walters, and along with Lockyer. Lockyer's pass was a beauty to Harrison. Harrison is in fact it's Carlaw who sprints away to score. Dane Carlaw has got the try. I was thinking Harrison first try last week. Carlaw's got the first this week. Broncos 4, Melbourne 0 off a Lockyer pass.
Yeah, lovely play here by the Broncos, and we can see as we freeze it there, this very, very compressed Melbourne Storm defensive line. All these players lumbering up shoulder to shoulder, plenty of space on the outside, which eventually has to be covered. Now you'll see what the Broncos eventually do is show a long line here, but come through it around this point here. As play continues, the ball will come wide from Walters to Lockyer. People on the outside worried about the players on the outside, creating space on the inside for Carlaw, and he's able to race away and score a try. And Darren Lockyer up at second receiver, creating the ball playing ability.
Look, for mine, it's a very complex way of defending this sliding defence. You've got to be near perfect every time you go up. On that occasion, they weren't. There's got to be a hole somewhere. Players concentrating on outside players, inside players, and not the man with the football.
Such a good start from Melbourne, and now they find themselves behind. And now Michael De Vere. 5 from 5 last week against the Dogs. His first kick from 15 in from touch. And 19 metres out, Michael De Vere is successful. So Brisbane get the advantage here, 6-0 over the Storm. Chiefs sideline.
Yeah, great try there from Dane Carlaw, but it's the same as Gus just said earlier about the Melbourne Storm's defence. I can see from here, when you change your defence halfway during the year, it's going to be dubious under pressure, and Steve Bell, he's been going up in the up and in defence, and his inside guys have been sliding, so they've got a few problems there they've got to work out. Just a quick update there on Mark Corvo. He's got ligaments on his left knee, and the doctors are just assessing him right at the moment.
Brisbane with Sivanasiva now from his own 10-metre line. Able to almost brush away from the first. That's the treatment for Mark Corvo on the sideline.
Just on their defence, I mean, 102 points in the last 2 games before today is an indication their defence isn't working. And against a side like Brisbane, you've got to be top-notch. Here they go again out wide.
Well, the 94 tries they've conceded this year is far and away the worst record of the top 8 sides in the competition. An error from Brisbane. Gives Melbourne another chance. It was Carl Webb wrestling and fighting with Matt Orford. Nothing really wrong with the offload, and put down by Michael De Vere. So the scrum 30 metres out. And Melbourne all set to the right. A little stumble at the scrum base from Orford, and then put down by Ross. And up come the Broncos with Lockyer. He's away from Guy, able to pass back inside. The cover defence from Moole, outstanding. It's a knock-on against Brisbane.
Well, this should have been a try. A Melbourne mistake, only 30 metres out from the Brisbane line. It was picked up by Lockyer. Simple mistake. Just took his eyes off the footy for a fraction. That's all you need. Darren Lockyer, little toe, lovely pick-up. Look, if De Vere gets the football, it's a try, but he threw it to Kevy, and he was the man who was marked.
A let off for Melbourne, very much so. Now Moore tackled. 25 metres out from their line. Marcus by. Sivanasiva was there with Priddis. Kearns runs straight at that Marcus Sivanasiva, who's come off the worst for wear from the attempted tackle. Rodney Howe. Webke comes up on Rodney Howe. They clean him up. Now Swain back in field for Danny Williams. Collected high around the chest. Peter Robinson prepares to come into the game. Another player who has just signed a new contract with Melbourne, 2 years. Lockyer coming at him like a missile. Another dynamic start from the Test fullback to this game. Roddy Takiri on his own 40 for Brisbane. Priddis earns back on with a bandage now. And Harrison passes along for De Vere and inside for Saylor. Lovely little weave there from Wendell Saylor. 40 metres away from the Melbourne line. Harrison for Burns. Ready to run back into trouble there. Kearney and Kearns, 2 of the more experienced forwards. Priddis for Walters. Across with Lockyer. Inside pass. The defence was there, not able to prevent the offload. Carlaw and Lockyer, then Walker. Magical hands from Brisbane, and then Walker doesn't pass. When you've got Lottie Takiri on the outside unmarked. 10 metres away from the line. Walker will be hoping something comes of this. Lockyer's kick. Here's a bit of trouble if Melbourne come up with it. Byers knocked it forward. Sailors with the ball. Tackle count has restarted, and Brisbane are only 15 metres away. Kevin Walters runs away from Rodney Howe. So we settle down again, but Chris Walker has bombed a try on the left side. Sivanasiva, they may still get one. Only 5 from the line. Priddis a dummy half. Broncos up by 6 points to 0. Harrison a dummy and then ducks into the tackle of Williams. Priddis from dummy half. Inside for Wendell. Saylor almost running over the top of Kearns. Right on the goal line now, the Brisbane Broncos. Kevin Walters with Lockyer. Another short pass, this time no success for Carlaw. That was a good tackle. Came from Bell. They keep it alive here for Carl Webb. No stranger to tries, able to pass there. There's trouble for Brisbane. It may have travelled forward. Well, it has now from Sivanasiva. And Melbourne, well, they've done very well that time.
Yeah, Melbourne get out of jail. It should be 12-0. I mean, Chris Walker, something about this game, rugby league, you learn something every game. And Chris Walker's learned once again, in situations like this, it's better just to pass the football. It's a sure try. Takiri only had 10 metres to run. Another bombed opportunity there.
And Lottie Takiri denied his 15th try of the year. There's now Bell. Engels back in field. Actually hails from Emerald, Stephen Bell. More recently, Brisbane Norths was his home. And they're now 5 inside their own territory, Melbourne. Swain, a one-handed pick-up and then the kick away. Lottie Takiri up in the line. Not a bad kick from Richard Swain. This one is going to beat them over the sideline. But that's a good set of 6. They started with the ball only 10 metres out from their own line. They finish pretty much 10 metres away from the Broncos' try line.
Yeah, and a good set of 6 to back up a couple of good sets of 6 in defence where they dodged a couple of bullets. The Broncos looked certain to score on a couple of occasions. They've turned them away, steadied the ship, got downfield, and Swain intelligently gets it out over the sideline to give his forwards a breather. But there are some real problems emerging on the outside in this Melbourne Storm defence.
Yeah, Gus, I mean, Brisbane making no secret, are they? Every time they get the football, they're looking to get there, just on the outside of the fringes, and there's plenty of space there.
De Vere working here with Wendell Saylor. 15 out. And Robbie Ross was up there to make the tackle. And De Vere over the 20. Ben Rorty prepares for his first taste of this game. Webke with the effort going in from the defence. Robinson and Williams. Now back with Burns. Over the 40-metre line, making a little bit more ground in this set, Brisbane. As perhaps the Melbourne defence tires a shade. Now Carl Webb. But they are really trying their hearts out, the Melbourne Storm. Pritis had to rush to get the dummy half and then made it look almost like a stuntman from a movie as he rolled across the car bonnet. Kick downfield for Robbie Ross to come back on the 30-metre line. This was the work of Luke Pritis. You see him rushing in from the top of pitcher. Gets there and does the little roll.
Well, you would have to think that was a knock-on from Luke Pritis there.
Yeah, it was a knock-on, and there's also now a knock-on made by the Melbourne Storm in possession. Only 40 metres out from their own line.
Fatty, just looking at this Broncos team, this is the 8th different half 5-8 combination they have used this season. And in the last 6 games, they've used 5 different half 5-8 combinations. Kevin Walters and Ashley Harrison getting the duties today. But they certainly had their injury problems in these positions. As Harrison breaks away.
Combining right there, Gus. Kevin Walters away to Ashley Harrison. Harrison rushes 35 metres to score. A case of one missed tackle, and you let Brisbane score 4.
And there's nothing wrong with this half 5-8 combination. Kevin Walters to Ashley Harrison, and these tries just should not be scored. 1-on-1, he took them on, got on the outside. I think it was at Robbie Ross. Simple miss, and then 30 metres away. He's got some speed, Harrison, for a big fella.
Yeah, absolutely nothing doing here. The big fella just shows the ball on the outside, looking wide. A little bit of a left foot jink, gets inside Geyer, and a simple brush past Robbie Ross, who hasn't played much football this season with hamstring injuries. He thumps the ground. He's not happy. And young Ashley Harrison, who's had some problems with injury during this game. A couple of fingers had to be replaced. They were dislocated.
It's a lovely piece of footwork when he got to the line there, because he just threw a nice dummy which kept the outside man interested in the outside support. That was Matt Geyer. Because quite often in those situations, the two can gang up on the one player, but he just threw the nice dummy.
Here then from easy range. One of the leading point scorers in the NRL. 2 tries to nil and 12-0 the score in Sunday football. The Broncos over the Storm. And Bennett, no emotion just yet. Mentioned at the top, they've struggled for back-to-back wins lately. 23 minutes now gone here at Colonial Stadium. Under the roof, we are indoors. And the Broncos are doing nicely as Emke rushes back just over the 10-metre line. But this end of the field, Melbourne's defence has been fine. No dramas whatsoever. But they have conceded a number of line breaks once the Broncos get inside their territory. Wendell Saylor's been very busy today. 30 out from his own line. And Brisbane the advantage there. Possession inside the Melbourne half. Pritis will play it on the 40. Burns becomes the dummy half. A little state of confusion there for Brisbane. On the last tackle, right on halfway. Lucky to use that left boot again. It's gone down the centre. They're working out Robbie Ross, who wasn't able to get there on the full and is now back to his own in-goal area. Robbie Ross, confronted by 6 or 7 Broncos chasers. Oh, the man in support. Let's take a comment from the sideline. Paul Harrigan.
Yeah, a little bit of bad news for the Broncos. Mark Corvo, he went to the dressing rooms. He's just come back out there, but the report is he won't be coming back out for the Broncos today. So the Broncos down to 3 reserves.
And importantly, 2 of those reserves are backs, Brent Tate and Casey Maguire. So no surprise if you do see the likes of a Wendell or a Lottie Takiri playing in the pack later today. Wendell Saylor, good tackle, knocked Aaron Moore off his feet. Just outside the 30. Richard Swain. And now with Rorty. Lopke and Sivanasiva combining there. Matt Orford kicks from inside the 40 this one. Lockyer's got a little bit of a chase across. The bounce, a good one for Orford. No panic though from Lockyer. 5 out from his line. Good work from Michael DeVere to get back to link up with his fullback. And they're with it, 10 out from their line, and they did not need that, the Melbourne Storm. Penalty to Brisbane.
No, excellent kick and a good chase down there. Had the Broncos under pressure, but they've relieved that pressure with a penalty. And your lessons in rugby league, Paul Borton talked about it a little while ago. Remember the Broncos last week against the Bulldogs led 12-0 at a similar stage. And we're actually down 24-12 at half-time, so they've got their little mental demons to deal with here in the next 15 minutes to ensure that they consolidate on this great start.
Outside their 40. And Harrison was put under pressure there by Robinson, did very well, and Carl Webb, the runaway truck, and he's going downhill, able to pass but intercept. Melbourne back with the ball. Carl Webb was really stretching out, but Matt Guy has done well to get himself in a position to prevent the play going any further. Melbourne back with it, and Rodney Howe short of the 40-metre line, his end of the field. Straight away for Rorty. Rodney Howe has gone straight to the interchange bench for Melbourne. Jones is back out there. Guyer off an Orford pass. Almost a collision between Burns and Webke in defence. Just inside the Brisbane half now, and Orford's decided to utilise the chip. Doesn't get a bounce, he was bowled over in the process. Penalty to the Melbourne Storm. Referee 29 metres out.
Yeah, referee claiming a push in the back for Orford as he struggles to get there. Shane Webke. It was interference, not exactly a push. But he did interfere enough for Matt to fall over, and it looks like they will have a shot at goal there right in front, about 29 metres out. And they're going to kick it out, of course, and go for the try.
You're only one off, Fatty. You're only one off.
As they should.
Well, they took their time on the restart, but now they're fired up. Kearns charges at them. 5 away from the line. Swain. And a dummy half goes Richard Swain, and has scored. No doubts about it. Richard Swain has scored for the Melbourne Storm. He is their Iron Man. He has played every minute this season, Richard Swain, and gets a try here against Brisbane.
Yeah, the man with the ball is most dangerous, and as we freeze it there, we can see that this man is going to begin a run into the line, and defenders here will come to meet him. And what will happen is Swain will dummy and just stretch him behind the defence and put the ball down over the line there. Defenders not watching who has the ball, assuming that it's going to be passed. Swain will dummy and go behind the line. Defenders have gone up past the ball, and he reaches out and plants it right on top of the white line for a very, very simple try and a painful one for the Broncos.
Yeah, once again, you've got the Broncos looking at the outside supports. They sprinted up, which you shouldn't really do off your own line. Only one marker there as well. But he's a great player, Richard Swain. New Zealand Test hooker. He's gutsy. Plenty of style about his play. Averages about 37 tackles a game. He's a player that every club's got to have.
Well, it's 103 games consecutively for Richard Swain at this club. And this year he spent every minute on the field. No thought of replacing him in games. Now Matt Orford, who has been one of the buys of the season, has this kick from 15 metres out and 15 in from the eastern touchline. Matt Orford, his first kick is off the upright. So it's an 8-point ball game here at Colonial. We will break at 12-4 to Brisbane. 11 minutes remaining in this first half. And Melbourne have got their first points on the board, and a deep kick off. Taken well by Guy as he was on the retreat. And Ben Rorty running back, getting close to that touchline. Takiri makes a second tackle. Crowd, well, they're educated now in league. They knew exactly when to react. And they were letting Tony Archer know they weren't too happy with a second challenge there from Takiri. And I must say, this crowd is probably up close to 20,000 here today. It's a good turnout. Robbie Kearns, dreadful play of the ball. He lost it there. It's allowed to continue with Kearney. 30 metres out from their line. Melbourne Storm, their try scorer Swain. Got real zest now about his attack. And back with Orford again, trying that little kick. Wonderful skills from Matt Orford. 20 metres out from the line. He will go all the way. They turned around and Matt Orford went straight down the highway to score. Every other car was in reverse. 12-8, 2 tries in 2 minutes.
And the Demons of last week returned for the Broncos. Wonderful play here by Matt Orford and some confusion at the back for the Broncos. As we see the referee raise the arm for the 5th tackle, a straight line there for the Broncos. We will freeze it there. And we'll see that Matt Orford, instead of the long kick, will put a little one behind the line and regather the football as play continues. A straight line for the Broncos. Matt Orford behind the line will pick it up and get himself into open play. And we'll freeze it there again. Now what we'll find here, plenty of Broncos defenders. 1, 2, 3, 4, all in position. Plenty of support players too for the Storm. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. But everyone will take up a different runner than the man with the ball. And again, the most dangerous player, the one in possession, will race away and score the try.
Right in front, the try scorer. Sharp work, all done at top speed. Got the try, now it's 12-10. Chiefs sideline.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm deserve that. They worked hard in the first half on their defence, and Matt Orford going through for a great try now. I tell you, this crowd's really starting to rev up now. As I said before earlier in the match, they're right in with this new configuration. They're getting into this game. They love it.
Oh, how quickly it changes. And Wayne Bennett, well, I can't say he looks any different. That's how he looked at 12-0. 12-10, he still looks the same. And the Broncos have the restart. Michael DeVere caught more sand than he would have wanted, and as a result the kick not as far, and Kearns already 25 metres out from the Melbourne line. Marcus Bai outside the 30. Burns there in defence. Corey Parker's also out there now for Brisbane. Kearney's up to the 40. Swain and now Perinara. Caught there by Carl Webb, who's going to have plenty of football this afternoon with that injury suffered by Mark Corvo. All the bench forwards are. Now Lockyer on his own goal line. Chase there in one line. There's 7 defenders there for Melbourne.
That's a great chase for the Storm. They're getting a little rhythm into their game now. Controlling the ball, kicking and chasing well. And the Broncos are the ones under pressure.
Wedke will play it on the 20. Critis away for Corey Parker. There's another player who's recently re-signed with his club. He's there for another 2 years with Brisbane. Wendell Saylor. Well, he is very much the extra forward today, Wendell. It's the 8th time he's touched the ball in this match, and there's not a forward in the Broncos side that's handled the ball more. Kick downfield from Lockyer from inside the 40. He sort of kicked it off balance there. And he's not getting the distance today with the kicks. Robbie Ross is tackled. Lockyer would be most unhappy with the way he's striking the ball, and he's one of the most beautiful kickers I think we've ever seen of a football. This one here, this has only gone 30 metres. And the head goes down from Darren. So Melbourne are 40 metres away from the Brisbane line. And Swain, they try the blind side. Perinara brushed away from the first man there, Kevin Walters. And now they're inside the 30. Swain back away with Orford. And that pass from Rorty for Orford. Confronted by 3 or 4 defenders, decides to link up with Robinson. Then back for Gaia. Wrapping around was Robbie Ross. Then away for Kearney. Then away for Moole. 10 metres out from the line. Marcus Bai goes over in the corner. Well, if they say that's a try, that's one of the best we've seen this season. Outstanding from Melbourne. Marcus Bai scores it, and they're 2 in front.
Yeah, count the passes in this one, keeping the ball alive. Players will look as though they're going to be tackled, and players will get in position to support. Gets the ball, Williams gets the ball back to Orford. Orford gets the ball wide, comes back inside to Geyer, and Robbie Ross will now double around, gets the ball onto Kearney, who creates the extra numbers. Moole straightens up the defence, draws De Vere, and across in the corner goes Marcus Bai. Beautiful play by the Melbourne Storm, keeping the ball in live. Good hands, and just ate up the Broncos' defence.
Yeah, great support play. I've still got a doubt on this last pass that Bai received. He could touch forward from where we sit. Yeah, lovely play. And Matty Orford's just having a blinder, which he always does for the Melbourne Storm. He's been their best player all year. That pass there, hard to tell from that angle. And a couple of blokes in the box here reckon it might have gone forward. Doesn't matter, it's on the scoreboard. And what a transformation in this match. 12-0 about 12 minutes ago. Now they're behind 14-12, the Broncos. And looking pretty tired. Lacking a forward. They've got one forward on the bench who won't come back. A couple of their forwards just looking like they're just a half a metre behind the play, sucking in the big ones.
That's exactly what happened to them last week, Fatty. They led 12-0 against the Bulldogs and went in at half-time down 24-12. And the Storm are full of running at the moment.
And Orford is right on the touchline with this attempt. His third for the day. Orford off the boot, not too bad, but not the legs in the kick. So 1 from 3 for Matt Orford, 14-12. There's 4 remaining in the first half. Chief on the sideline.
Oh, the Melbourne Storm playing with a tremendous amount of confidence. You can just see here Mills' last pass here to Marcus Bai. A little bit, well, I think it's a good half metre forward there. But nonetheless, it is a try. And the intensity they're showing now is like they showed in 1999. 3 tries in 8 minutes, heaps of confidence.
Michael De Vere goes through the drill of restarting play again. And go away for Rorty. Come back. Full head of steam up. Got away from a stumbling Petro Sivanasiva. And back to the 20. Kearns has been strong today. The captain. 9 hit-ups from Robbie Kearns. Tops the count. Now with Kearney. Yeah, this is 99 stuff. This sort of rolling play from the Melbourne forwards. Peter Robinson. Almost back to halfway for Melbourne. They've done that in 4 tackles. Matt Orford on halfway that time. Caught in possession. Webke and Parker there. Last tackle for Melbourne. Swain again shows his kicking skills for that southwestern corner. Southwestern corner rather. And Lockyer able to come up with the ball. He cops the treatment of the defence there. He can pick them off. 3 in the tackle. And there's another hard worker. Robinson coming over the top. Makes it back-to-back tackles, that time on Sivanasiva. Burns stepping off his right foot, that time into Perinara and Rodney Howe. And a back slam from Howe to finish off Darren Burns on the 40-metre line. Brisbane trailing by 2 points as we come up to half-time. And the little kick, Melbourne's had success, so the Broncos try to do likewise. But Walker not able to pull it in. And then a touch of AFL at the end. He's put it out of bounds. Having regathered.
That's over the boundary line on the full, but here's a little kick from Lockyer over the top. Walker has one grab at it. I don't know, I think perhaps Geyer knocked that on. This would have been play on. And he takes a one-handed grab at it while he wasn't looking at the football and knocks it on. Opportunity lost there. I think Geyer touched the first one and he shows his disgust. Drop punt out over the boundary line. That'll be a free kick in AFL.
So a couple of minutes remaining in this first half. Melbourne, who trailed 12-0 and then piled on 3 tries with their tails up. Robinson will play it short of halfway, and Swain for Kearns, and then Howe and Robbie Ross and Kearney. They're keeping this ball alive. They're making it sing now. Merle away from Marcus Bai. And Marcus got away from Wendell and kept it alive for Geyer, and then Merle. Let's start all over again. And they do that. 40 metres away from the Brisbane line. 90 seconds remain in the first half. Swain for Orford. Across with Perinara. Passing tackle from Kevin Walters. Quick play the ball from Perinara. Orford, they're moving now. Robbie Ross for Bell. Links up with Moala. 25 from the line, last tackle. Roddy Takiri again hangs around in the tackle. Crowd unhappy. Orford on the last play. Geyer with a dummy and then spun himself right off his feet. Sivanasiva comes up with the ball.
They've been doing all the defending, Brisbane. They're still going to try and score a try before half-time. 50 seconds remaining. They can do it. Wendell is away.
And
No support.
Moore coming from behind at Wendell. Able to keep it alive for Kevin Walters, then Lockyer, then Prittis, and now Parker. Parker up to halfway for Brisbane. And that man Robinson got across for Melbourne. Lockyer. It's been an exciting first half, certainly. Lockyer keeps it alive this time for Parker. Let's go that way now. Webke. Inside the 40 he goes with Geyer on his back. Final 30 seconds. Prittis. Crowd wanting more of this ball movement. Prittis has lost it in trying to force a pass. Melbourne have got the ball. One last play for them in the half. And Kearns refuses to be held. Geyer on his own 40. He's caught by a man from behind. He wasn't offside. There's play. There had been no tackle after the turnover, so it's play on for Brisbane. Lockyer passes up for Wendell. Well, that's been a passage of play. And what good entertainment the first 40 minutes in Sunday football has been. We will break in Sunday football. The Melbourne Storm 14, leading the Brisbane Broncos 12. We are ready for the second half, and Melbourne on target to get back into the top 8. Well, there's an interesting restart from Matt Orford. He went for 6 on the restart. And Webke comes back for Brisbane. The Broncos, who led 12 points to 0, find themselves behind. Sivanasiva over the 30. And it's a new look bench they have today that's going to be tested. We're yet to see either Brent Tate or Casey Maguire in this game. And Broncos kicking early. Lockyer made sure he was inside that 40, but has kicked down the centre. And back comes Ross, linking up with Marcus. Marcus Bai, that is. And wrapping around was Robbie Ross, who was suddenly put under a bit of pressure there. Saylor was sweating on him. To be honest, the Melbourne Storm started pretty well, found themselves down 12 points to 0, but a lot of their work had been a vast improvement on the last fortnight at least, early in this match. Here is Kearns, who's been up with their best today and upended there by Prittis. Swain was their first try scorer, back for Orford, who was their second, and that kick will find Wendell Saylor. Coming off his own 20-metre line. Wendell runs and gets away from Swain, and then able to pass as he stood in the tackle of Perinara. And it's been marauding defence from Melbourne on the kick chase today. It's been very impressive.
Henry off. Hold, Richard. Hold.
And Carlisle plays it outside the 30. Left with Walker. Walker pushes the pass. It's over the sideline. No chance for Lottie Takiri whatsoever there.
Well, that is just purely and simply really bad play there. It's a short blind side. He runs on an angle towards the sideline and then gives a pressure pass, being driven back in defence. Chris Walker's a fine player, represented Queensland this year, but still got a lot to learn.
Let's get in, Stephen Kearney. In, Henry, and stay in, right? Get up, Richard, get up.
Melbourne come up with a scrum feed. You may have heard Tony Archer there saying, get up, Richard. Richard was on his knees for that scrum, but it was allowed to continue. Stephen Bell tackled inside the 30. And now Aaron Moore attacks the blind side and makes 10 metres. Creeps inside the Broncos 20. Marcus Bai. They've scored the last 3 tries in this match, Melbourne.
Release.
And they're on the verge of a 4th. Richard Swain. Crossfield with Matt Orford, and a cutout ball for Kearney. Kearney is 10 metres out. That's good defence from Brisbane. Carlaw over the top. And back to the left. Orford, the little kick. He's had some success today. Not this time, though. Too strong off the boot.
Wait.
And Brisbane earn a 20-metre restart. Orford has at least kept them guessing with his kicking game today.
Held one, release.
Really, until then, there'd been no blemish on his card. Lottie Takiri.
2, clear now. Get off.
Goes back to the 40.
Let go of him, Luke. You're holding on to it.
Only 2 points in the game when they clashed earlier this year. Brisbane getting the cash up at ANZ. They may be headed for a similar finish here. Michael De Vere, it was 18-16 at ANZ in round 8, and Matt Orford had a kick to square the match late. A conversion attempt that went wide of the posts. Now Darren Burns with the ball. And collected by 3 defenders. Can see right on halfway. Prittis with Kevin Walters. The Lockyer And now they're moving on the outside. Walker's around his man. He's away from Moala. Look at the speed of Walker. Links up with Lottie Takiri. He makes a beeline for the goalposts and scores for Brisbane. Just a little sample of what they can do in attack. Walker and Takiri. 16-14 Broncos back in front.
And a good example again of the compressed defence. As we freeze it there, what we'll see is we've got all these Melbourne Storm players very, very compressed, and as the ball goes wider with the pass, we'll find Walker will run around the outside of this last man. And as play continues, you see that compressed defence, they get the ball the outside, and Walker, with great speed, gets on the outside of Fafita Moala. Shows great pace down the sideline, a good ball inside to Lottie Takiri. Matt Guy tries very, very hard, but the big fella stretches out and puts it down under the post.
Yeah, that's better stuff there from Chris Walker. Gave himself plenty of room to move, actually ran out on an angle to get on the outside of his opponents. Gave Moala a cold as he breezed past him. Plenty of speed, Chris Walker. This is why he played so well on the Queensland side. Utilised his speed. On this occasion, he drew in a beautiful pass. Did everything right there. Good on you, son. Made a mistake, 3 minutes ago. He's made up for it well there.
And Lottie Takiri, who scored 3 tries in a beaten side last week, gets his 15th try for the year. And in his own personal duel with Wendell Saylor, he's kicked as they round the home straight. Lottie Takiri, 15 tries for the year. He's 5 clear of Wendell now. Michael De Vere right in front. So trailed by 2 at half time. Straight after the break, they're in front by 4 in Sunday football. 6 minutes into the second half. And Melbourne now find themselves back behind on the scoreboard as Sivanasiva rushes back. Some of what was said at half time by the two coaches maybe a little outdated now. Chief can bring us up to speed. What was said, Paul?
Yeah, for the Storm, Mark Murray, he was pleased with the intensity they showed late in that first half, but he just wants them up in the Broncos' faces, apply heaps of pressure in defence and attack. The Broncos, Wayne Bennett, he just wanted them to play the same way that they got, so how they got the 12-0. They basically have done that this start of the second half. He was a little bit worried about their defence too. He wanted them to pick that up.
Melbourne on halfway defending as Brisbane stretch left. Walker's through again. Here's trouble. Walker flicks it out the back. And Takiri on the juggle, 10 metres out from the line. Brisbane, last tackle. Still a chance to score. Kevin Walters the switch. There's another one for Lottie. The daily double to Lottie Takiri in 2 minutes. They've still got troubles, Brisbane. Walker is down with a hamstring problem, but his team is in front by 8.
Yeah, Walker down, clutching at that hamstring. He showed great pace in the last 2 tries for the Broncos. It was his run that set it up as we freeze it there. Again, it's a direct replica of what we saw in the previous, a compressed defence. Now, Wayne Bennett at half-time has told him to get the ball to the outside to Walker. He will again make the sprint round the outside to set up the ball that leads to the eventual try. Lockyer gets the ball wide to Walker on the outside. Great speed again, shows the dummy. That time Fafita Moala didn't want him on the outside, ran too wide looking at Takiri. Takiri comes up with a juggle. From the next play the ball, there will be an interchange of passing. The ball comes to the right to Kevin Walters. He instinctively feels that the opportunities are back on the left. Throws a nice cut-out pass across the defence, picked up by Takiri, who played the ball, and he's able to swivel and put the ball over. But again, put that down to Wayne Bennett at half-time, saying, look, we came here to play an up and in defensive team. They've shown us a slide defence. Let's make some adjustments. And in their first 2 possessions of the second half, they've run around them.
Yeah, it's a slide defence. It just isn't working. It's almost like they've emailed them invitations. Come on, boys. Here's where we want you to run. Well, they're running. Just see there, that's where Chris Walker tore his hamstring just before he passed the football. Had he have not passed it, done his hammy, he might have gone on and scored the try himself. This is a great switch of play by Kevin Walters as well. And Lottie Takiri on the... He normally plays on that wing, and he scored a try over there.
So Walker onto the Medicab. Terrible blow, and it gives a young bloke by the name of Brent Tate a chance in first grade. His first match in the top company, junior kangaroo here in jumper 18. The leader's now 8 points as Michael De Vere lines up this kick, 8 metres in from touch. Right on the 20-metre line. Well, Melbourne, they will just be hoping they can hit back as they did in the first half. They conceded the first 2 tries and then came back with 3 of their own. Broncos get the first 2 of the second half. This one converted by Michael De Vere. Intriguing struggle that we have remaining in this match. 24-14, Broncos leading the Storm. Melbourne down by 10. And back underway. Good pick up there from Darren Burns.
Richard away,
Good last bounce. Broncos with Curtis and away for Parker. Casey Maguire's also warming up at the bench at the moment for Brisbane. He's waiting to make his debut for the Broncos. Has played a couple of matches for Parramatta in the past. Look, Walker's gone. Let's play the same book though, with Tate at left centre. There is Casey Maguire on screen. Hosted first grade with Parramatta back in '98. Broncos are short of halfway. You've got to wonder how the confidence is going for Fafita Moala right now on the right wing as Prentice just strides through. 20 metres out from the line, flicks it out the back, and Webke shows a little bit of skill there as well. First his support play and then the juggle. Brisbane, they've got him on the rack as it comes wide and Parker scores. 3 tries, stop the clock at about 5 minutes. Broncos have just shut Melbourne right out. It's 28-14.
They're a wonderful football team, the Broncos, and intelligent. When their coach says to them at half-time, we're playing a different sort of defence to what we anticipated, they've been able to change their game. And as we freeze it there, we can see that, again, compressed defence here on the inside. Plenty of numbers here for the Broncos. As plays continues, they will just pick the number on the outside. And as in the previous 2 tries, passes to the outside of the slide defence are able to come up with points.
Yeah, the great bust, wasn't it, by Luke Prentice? Just when they're making all that ground on the edges, Luke Prentice decides, I'll have a crack right down the middle. Pretty poor marker work and pivot defensive forward work there. Plenty of room to move. And a great pickup, wasn't it, by Shane Webke trailing through. The big fella almost juggled it, picked it up, and then on the outside it's just a matter of, well, who wants this pass? Because there was 3 or 4 of them out there, could have scored it.
Michael De Vere ready with his conversion attempt. Meter in from touch. The try scorer Corey Parker, on his second of his career, got one on debut against the Warriors earlier this season. De Vere wide with a kick. But from 14-12 down, they now find themselves in front 28-14. Paul Harrigan sideline.
Yes, Broncos doing extremely well. The report on Chris Walker with the hamstring looks like he won't be back out. Mark Corvo already gone. You can see there on the screen. Only 2 reserves less. I don't think they're going to need it, but they're going to be stretching the second half, the Broncos.
Melbourne must score next to remain in this game. Webke, I'm glad Fatty gave him a rap for that juggling effort to support Prentice first of all. Got himself in position, and he's had 3 or 4 goes at it and was able to retain possession. Brisbane on their 30 and Prentice involved again with Carlaw and back for young Tate. Recently being pursued by the Bulldogs for next season. Luke Prentice for Harrison and then for Parker. On that 40, Prentice passing back for Lockyer. Kicks towards the wing of Fafita Moala. Can't get there on the full. Now gets a shot at it, eventually, on his 20. And all bar 3 of the Broncos up there in one line. Marcus Bai rushes back for 10 metres. This tackle count climbing for the Melbourne Storm over the 20 mark, the top 50 last week against Parramatta. Swain to the blind side with Kearney. Kearney, strong run. Bobby Ross for Orford. Cut out ball for Robinson. Straightens and then goes wide with Bell. And 5th tackle it is for Melbourne, 35 metres out from the line. And Robinson finds himself in a situation having to kick on the last. Not a bad little chip, that one. Lockyer. He's taken by Bell. And he's done some real good things today, Peter Robinson. Been a hard worker. And here he showed us his kicking skills. It's been now 15 out from their line as the Melbourne defence starts to aim up again. Prentice for Lockyer and Harrison. Turning and passing for De Vere, along the line for Saylor. Comes back in away from that touchline. Able to offload for Harrison. Runs up into Marcus Bai, and the defence gets the work done as Swain came in with Perinara. Mendel gets another touch to the 30-metre line. 5th tackle for Brisbane. We'll call on Lockyer to kick again. No, decides to run. Kevin Walters, let's try the left. And Tate passes well. The ball was called forward.
Yeah, he's pulled up a forward pass here that wasn't forward. Looked fine from Kevy Walters. Once again, last tackle option. Let's run it. And that's definitely gone back. Might have floated forward and went back off the hands.
As Williams comes back on, doesn't Tate look like a thin Brad Thorne out in the centres? Swain with Orford. Inside runner. Williams almost found himself getting right in the road there. Melbourne only 10 metres out. And that time Williams keeps it alive for Gaia. They've put it down. It's play on with Ross. There is a chance on the right if Orford can get it away. Keeps it alive for Williams. Still only 10 metres out from the line. Now Moala has a chance to get some of his own back. I reckon Fafita has done it. He hasn't had a happy second half at all. In fact, it has been an absolute nightmare, but he may have got 4 of his own there.
Yeah, great work by the Storm. They've hit back pretty well. And there was some space out wide. Brisbane always struggling out wide on their left-hand side on this occasion. Robbie Ross, Kevy Walters comes in to hit him. And then Matt Orford, he knew there was some bodies out there. Gets on the outside of him, and that tackle had to be made, that one there by Tate. It wasn't. And the play's allowed to go on through Danny Williams, the blonde bombshell. Pass is okay. Stands up to Keary, gets around him. And does he bang it down in time? Does he? What?
Decision is try for Fafita Moala. They've still got a game, 28-18, Gus.
Yeah, they've got points in them, the Storm, and when they get behind on the scoreboard, they chance their arm. This ball went to the left-hand side of the field. Now starts to cut its way back to the right. A drop ball there. How often do we see points scored when a ball hits the ground? Now the Broncos defence is coming in. They regroup. Takiri actually gets himself in good position now. He should have made this tackle, but Moala was able to stop and start, put a little sprint on him, and probably took him by surprise. Geyer in the middle of the field. That ball went to ground. No problem there. Now defenders start to rush in, try to close it down. Orford gets one over the top. That tackle had to be made. Coming around to support again was Williams. Williams, a long ball out to Fafita, and just looked as though he was going to try and step back inside. Held Takiri up a little bit, then made a lunge at the line. Thought Takiri had a good shot on him there, but obviously the fake by Moala was enough to create the space and get it down in the corner.
10 points is the margin. Still plenty of time in this game. Orford's kick from the sideline looks good. Looks great. Looks superb from Matt Orford. Now it's 8 to difference. Paul Harrigan's sideline at 28-20.
Yeah, I think we could be in for a close game here. Good try there by Moala, but just sitting on the sideline, it's just funny how the momentum is changing so much in this game. We saw the Broncos so dominant again at the start of that second half. You just see here Moala going over for a try. It's just changing from to and fro. I think it's going to be a close one.
This kick from Matt Orford, as good as you'll get here at Colonial. Don't see that in AFL. Incidentally, Brisbane won here last night. They had a match in the AFL against North Melbourne. And the Brisbane side getting the cash. Looking for a double here with the Broncos. So Melbourne with it outside their 20. Robinson, kid from Cobar. Match-winning try last year in the match against the Broncos down here in Melbourne.
Well, the advantage is with Melbourne as the game goes on. We've got a lot of players out there having to play long periods. They'd normally be getting a rest, some of these big forwards like Sivanasiva and Webke. You've got Darren Burns out there who hasn't played a full game for a long, long time. He went on very early to replace Mark Corvo. So, you know, and a couple of kids have gone on as well. So everything's in Melbourne's favour to come home strongly.
Lottie Takiri over the 20. It's where responsibility falls on the shoulders of players like Takiri and Saylor. Wonderful defence on Tate there. It was Matt Rua who supplied the tackle. And again, big shoulder over the top from Kearns. Now, Chris Walker is back on the bench at the moment as Burns takes a hit up into Danny Williams. Paul Harrigan sideline.
Yeah, just an update on Chris Walker. He's definitely out of the game. He could be out for another 4 or 5 weeks. It looks like a bad hamstring strain there, and he's a sick and sorry side, unfortunately, on the bench.
And Marcus Bai from the Broncos kick He's still a crowd favourite down here, Marcus. Hasn't been as devastating this year, but he's had a few knee problems along the way. Now Aaron Moore with it. 48 metres away from the Broncos line. Swain to the right with Howe, passing just before the line to Robinson. Trying to really extend this Brisbane defence. Williams back in field. He's off contract this year, Danny. Outside the Broncos 30, Orford has looked lively all match. Inside pass for Rua. Slices through and draws the last line of defence in, Darren Lockyer. Fifth tackle. They may have numbers here on the right-hand side as it comes across for Guy. They work towards Moala's wing. Guy is only 5 metres out. Got the ball to Bell. They won't need Moala because Bell has scored for Melbourne. Now they've got back-to-back tries. Well, it is following the trend of the first half. All Brisbane, then pass the baton over to the Storm. 4 points the difference, Gus.
There certainly was, and a good break in the middle of the field by Rua as we freeze it there. We can see that the Broncos only have 1, 2, 3 defenders past the post, and from that moment, because of all that Melbourne Storm attack, they're going to be under pressure. The ball goes wide as play continues. It looks as though they've got the numbers. Guy dummies inside and now able to keep the ball alive as the defenders come in and try and close it down. Gets a good pass away there on the outside to Bell, who's able to race around now and score the try alongside the post. The Storm are right back in the football game.
Yeah, they had the numbers there in the end, but some ineffective defence forced some of the Broncos players to come in to make tackles they didn't have to. Matt Guy got away there and beat 2, and then Lotta Takiri was forced to come in. That gave him a little bit of space out wide, and Stephen Bell, nice drive foot step, finishes it off beautifully.
And Wayne Bennett's reaction to all of that. Well, again, I'll say it was the same when he led 12-0, then trailed 14-12. Nothing's changed to 28-24. Orford moves in from 20 metres in from the sideline. He's successful again. He's on a roll, the number 7. 2 points the difference in Sunday football. There's 2 points the difference in their round 8 clash as well. Avalanche of points in the second half. 5 tries now. We enter the final quarter of this match. A second half that feels like it's been going a long, long time on the back of 5 4-pointers. That has included 5 4-pointers. And an injury delay when Chris Walker was taken off. Melbourne work forward with Kearns. We've spoken about the Melbourne defence. You've got to start wondering about the Brisbane Broncos defence. They have conceded a pile of points recently. 37 against the Bulldogs last week, over 40 against Newcastle 3 weeks back. Roddy's back out there for Melbourne. The kick downfield, Wendell Saylor. He's got some room before he gets back to the defence. Taken on the 30-metre line. They rough up Wendell a bit, and he has a little word to Marcus Bai once he got back to his feet. And Carl Webb gets ready for his second journey into the game with Carlaw for Kevin Walters running across that 40-metre line. Now straightens up close to the sideline. Bell and Moala across there. And Tate. 5 inside Melbourne's half. Critis with Lockyer now along. Comes for Casey Maguire. He gets his first touch with the Broncos jumper on his back. 5th tackle. Webb in at dummy half, that right thigh heavily strapped. It's the injury that kept him out last week. Moala, well, the day's improving for Fafita. It was a rotten start to the second half.
That's quite incredible talking about the Broncos. Prior to round 15, when Gordon Tallis got hurt, they were conceding around 19 points a game, or conceding 19 missed tackles a game. Since Gordon Tallis has been out in round 15, something like 38 to 40 missed tackles per game for the Brisbane Broncos. Their defence, since Gordon Tallis has been injured, has fallen apart at different times of the game.
Swing passes for Roddy and just palmed on by Robinson. He did well in that exchange. Melbourne on tackle number 5, just short of halfway. Orford with a kick. and has got it past Darren Lockyer. Now he wants to get it on the string and pull it back. And he's done that Orford. Lockyer waited as long as he could. Now there's trouble. Here come the Storm. They come in on Darren Lockyer. They have him for lunch and they have him for dinner. And he's over the dead ball line. Big play. It will be a line dropout.
Yeah, like hungry dogs. When one growls, they all growl. And they saw an opportunity here to pin Lockyer in his in goal after a pinpoint accurate kick by Orford. Had him trapped in the in goal. Look at them all swarming in.
I am surprised at a lack of support here for Darren Lockyer. Lottie Takiri standing a metre away. Didn't get in to support him, help him, stop them from pushing him back. He got hammered in the end, Lockyer.
Well, Lockyer was the potato chip, and in came the Seagulls from everywhere, and the crowd, in excess of 15,000 here today, really loved it. First line dropout for the match. Marcus Bai rushes back inside the 40. Crowd 15,470 in fact. Another 40. Carries up inside the 30. 28-26. There's still 16 minutes remaining in this one. At this rate, we'll have another 5 tries before full time. Kearns bounces away for Rorty, then for Rua. On the Broncos 20. Broncos 2 men down on the interchange. Walker and Corvo out of the game. Dyer, they are being tested. Melbourne's only 10 metres from the line. They've scored the last 2 tries in this game. Geyer stands in the tackle. Orford, it's been a Geyer offload that has promoted the last 2 tries. Robinson keeps it alive for Rua. And that is the 5th tackle. 15 away, Swain. I hope he knows it. Gives it to Marcus Bai and just says, do your best, Marcus. And he will be held up 5 metres out, and that's a changeover. Pretty tough call there from Richard Swain on his winger. Changeover 5 metres out from the Broncos line.
Yeah, he obviously miscounted the tackles there, Richard Swain. It's the second time he's done it in the game. They needed to get to a 5th tackle option, and that time he just threw it to Marcus Bai on the short side. Had plenty of defence in front of him. Marcus threw his weight into the task, but an opportunity lost there for the Storm. But the Broncos at the moment reeling at their own end of the field, finding it hard to get out of trouble.
And they've never won down here in Melbourne either, Brisbane. And Lockyer passes wide for Tate. Back to the 20. Well, the Broncos have never beaten Melbourne here in Melbourne. Harrison for Tate. And their own 40. He's got plenty of kicks away from inside the 40 today, but most have been like that, down the centre of the field. Kicking for Robbie Ross. And Ross wanted Marcus Bai there. I think he wishes he had a passed.
Oh, good shot there from Wendell Saylor. Robbie Ross coming across the link up with his winger. Wendell Saylor just went in and met him head on. A really good shot.
Infield with Moala. Gets it back to the 40. Only 6th game for the year for Fida Moala. Stephen Kearney. He's got straight through the first line. I think it was Maguire he went over the top of. Inside the Brisbane half. Ross with Orford. And so confidently the number 7. Danny Williams. A fend. Was looking to keep it alive. Last tackle now for Melbourne. The result here would be very handy. Orford up to the line. Got past one, and that is a wonderful tackle from Harrison. Ball and all has forced another changeover.
Yeah, great tackle. Matty Orford's got plenty of confidence in his own ability. He took on the big fellas there. Got around Seven Receiver, but not so Ashley Harrison as De Veer gets tackled 30 metres out from his own line. He's hoping to maybe duck under the tackle of Harrison.
Yeah, good tackle at this point of the game too. 13 remaining. He's been out there for the lot. Ashley Harrison was listed at lock, started the game at 5'8". Lottie Takiri now inside the Melbourne half.
That's an indication that the Broncos forwards are starting to get tired. That's the left winger, Takiri, who's come right across this side of the field to rip one up for his tired forwards. They're starting to paddle a little bit in the closing moments of this game.
His kick is deep. Well, heard it at the swimming plenty of times in recent days. It's when you start to feel the piano on your back. There's trouble back upfield here.
Yeah, there's a blue one on the background.
Well, the touch judge has come in. This, you'd have to think, is going to be a penalty for Brisbane on the back of that kick.
And it was Danny Williams, I think, the Melbourne player who was involved in it. A couple of the Broncos got up swinging and
Hey, don't say anything yet.
As the referee sorts it out, he'll call a couple of players in. Oh, it's Carl Webb who starts throwing punches on Ben Rorty.
Well, he's a former state boxing champion, Carl Webb, at an earlier age. I think Rorty has picked the wrong man.
Oh, well, hang on a minute. Rorty for mine lifted an elbow.
Come up a bit high, and it was a fend off to try and get him out of the road after he's changed lines on him. And then he started throwing punches.
Okay.
So the aggressor is here by changing lines on the bloke coming through to take get the.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Okay, we're putting the incident on report, right? Penalty to Melbourne. Okay, incident on report.
The referee, the touch shows came in to say that Carl Webb actually changed lines to get in the way of the chaser, that being Rorty. So Rorty, to save himself or protect himself, lifted his elbow, pushed him out of the way, and that's when he said Carl Webb started throwing punches. And it's on report. Please.
There you go. It was a good punch though, wasn't it? In the scheme of things from Carl Webb.
Yeah, but a costly penalty to his team. They had Melbourne Storm right down on their own line after a good kick from Lockyer. Now the Storm are back in their half on tackle one and coming to get them.
They're 30 metres away, and Rorty and Webb was right up there, didn't get his man. In fact, they've had a little bit to say too after the exchange. Rorty and Webb, now Swain out of dummy half, made 10 metres. They're right in front of the post now. 12 away, they trail by 2 points. They trailed by 14 not long ago. As Horford has tackled now just a couple of metres out from the line. What a match of football this is. Kearney with a big fend. Stephen Kearney comes up short. Harrison's made the tackle again for Brisbane. Swain back with Howe. Last tackle, Howe's kick. A ricochet. Lockyer goes back. It's play on here. This is play on. That could be a try. Jagaya.
It will be a try. This is unbelievable work. The referee saying it came off a Brisbane player backwards. I don't think so. I think a Melbourne player actually got his hands to it and forced it backwards, knocked it backwards off a Rodney Howe kick. This will be one of the freakiest tries I've ever seen. Lockyer's there. It's knocked back by Robbie Ross. This should be play on, and this will be a Melbourne try. Watch his feet, be careful of his feet. Matt Geyer. Yep, can't see a problem.
Well, Lockyer was trying to wish the ball dead. He wasn't playing at it. The ball rolls agonisingly close, sits up on a bad bounce, and it's Robbie Ross that's able to get in there and bat it backwards, keeping the ball alive. There's only one other player within Curry, and that's Matt Geyer. He slows down, takes his time, waits for the right moment, plants the two hands right on top of it.
Plenty of feeling down there as we wait for this decision. Well, the Broncos had a lot to say to Melbourne. They return serve. Now the crowd stands by. It's going to be a try. They're back in front. 30 points to 28. And there's still 11 minutes remaining.
It's an incredible game, football, isn't it? The first half was the same. Everything went with possession. Then in the second half, the early moments were all the Broncos. And Rodney Howe, an unlikely kicker, puts a grubber kick in. Darren Lockyer knows he needs it to go leg, doesn't play dead, doesn't play at the ball. Robbie Ross never gave up, kept chasing. Said it might go dead, but I can stop it, I can do something. Got his hand to the ball, knocked it back to a teammate, and probably the most unlikely try you'll ever see is going to put the Storm in front 30 to 28 with this kick to come.
And there's still football left in the game. Out. Matt Orphan. For a 4-point lead out of 15,470. And nearly all Melbourne fans, they're loving this now. Paul Harrigan sideline, Storm up by 4.
Yeah, what about Rodney Howe? Chip kicking front row. They're very rare. You can see the benches here. A contrast between the two benches, just of interest. Of course, Brisbane only got 2 left, but the Storm, to Cecil Levy, he hasn't played yet. There's only 10 minutes to go, and it's not like the Storm don't need him. They're running out of steam a little bit, and he's fresh as a daisy.
Not sure if that's off for the first time this year. It's been a few times. We mentioned last week that he hasn't got a touch of the football. Last week they sent him on when they trailed by 40.
Well, prior today, the Melbourne Storm found themselves back in 9th spot with that win by the Warriors last night. Their run home is pretty good. This was going to be their most difficult contest. They've got the Northern Eagles away, the Roosters away, the Penrith at home, the Warriors at home, and Canberra away. So this 2 points today should virtually guarantee the Storm a spot in the playoffs and making the other contenders very, very nervous. And on the back of news today on the Footy Show that Scott Hill will return this season, he will be back before the playoffs, all of a sudden the Storm put their hands up as a contender.
Orford's kick downfield. That was from outside the 40. Wendell's got it on the 20. I still think, though, at the present rate, there's time for easy for another couple of tries in this game. Certainly not prepared to say the Broncos are out of it, but they have conceded the last 3 tries. And now Lockyer's lost the ball in the tackle. Melbourne on the charge, and the 15,000 sound like 30 here at Colonial.
Yeah, and pressure can even get the best of them. Lockyer trying to get something started for his football team. All of a sudden, they're behind on the scoreboard. He felt the need to take some risks, show the football. But the Storm have been swarming in now for the last 15 minutes, putting a lot of pressure on, forcing turnovers, dominating possession. Another good opportunity to close it out here.
Guy is going with good confidence too. I don't know whether you're going to see any change until Hill comes back of the 7 and the 6. I think Tessessa Lavia will be lucky to see another minute. Rua's away. 5 minutes from the line. He's gone better without the headgear in this match than I've seen him for ages. Swain at dummy half. Orford there for Kearney. Kearney's only 5 away. And caught in the tackle of Burns, a crucial tackle. Orford with Denny Williams. 10 out from the line. Away for Swain, then for Howe. Just pushes along, keeps it going with Rorty and Geyer. And now they're 12 from the line. With Robbie Ross working to the right, Denny Williams has suddenly become a ball-playing 5'8". Richard Swain's with it. 15 out from the line. That is the last tackle. They've just lost their way a little in this set of 6. Geyer for Orford. They can straighten things out quickly, though. Orford's kick. Saylor's got work to do. A dummy. He got past Howe. Gets past another. Moore's now got him. All they come, and he's got him offside, in fact. He's given a penalty to Brisbane.
Late call there by Tony Archer. Wendell had beaten 16 of them, trying to get his way out. And when there was no advantage, he was going to be stuck in the in-goal area. Penalty came. And Darren Burns hits one up, gets 10 metres, but the Brisbane boys, they are running out of petrol.
Well, who does he find offside exactly? Is he saying Rodney Howe? He could be the only one.
Said Rodney Howe. Looked borderline, didn't it?
Wendell said, thanks, you're playing advantage. You've got to beat 6 of them before you blow it up. And Robinson on the sideline for Melbourne. Very tense times now. Now 7 minutes of the game. Carlaw 35 away from the Melbourne line. 32-28. Even if Brisbane do score, it becomes a pressure conversion attempt for Michael De Vere. Parker's inside the 30. Prudis to centre field with Lockyer. Lockyer, the little kick. He's got De Vere on the chase. It's not a good kick. Ross has ended up with the ball. Lockyer was taken out by Rua as he kicked. Mills with the ball for Melbourne. Bell to the right and Moala 15 metres out. They'd lost their last 2 games. They were thumped in their last 2 games, Melbourne, coming into this match against the reigning champions. Ben Rorty offloads in the tackle. Good work. Loss and then Guy. That's been knocked down by Kevin Walters. Matt Orford's with the ball. Archer says it wasn't played at by Walters. Now he's got a penalty to Melbourne.
Oh dear, that's a punishing penalty for the Broncos. Last tackle deep inside the Storm area. Lottie Takiri goes back with Orford. He's actually got a good grip on the ball here as he goes down. Rolls Orford over and pulls it away. Now, I don't know why the referee called held. That tackle was still in motion. And Takiri was well within his rights there. He had hold of the football on the way down. And Orford very pleased with the penalty for his team.
I suppose what helps Melbourne still came up with the ball, but they do come up with it a little further downfield than what they should have via the penalty. Here's Rorty away from the centre of halfway, and another offload from Rorty for Geyer, who was really playing good football in this second half. Robbie Ross. For Kearney now. Kearney His 17th hit up for the match. He's inside the 30. Swain and Rodney Howe keeps it going for Orford. Confronted there by Sivana Seaver. 21 away, centre field. 4.5 remaining. Storm up by 4. They go to the right, and Peter Robinson is caught in possession. That is the 5th tackle. A repeat set will have the Broncos just about out on their feet. Orford is looking for it. The kick, not a good bounce from his point of view, although De Vere makes a play at it. And now we've got a line drop out.
Well, that's the pressure that the previous try has created on the Broncos. No one was game to let this roll towards the in goal. Good kick there, good pressure on the chase, and De Vere says, well, I'm not going to be like Darren Lockyer. I've got to play at the football, and carts are dead. And now a line drop out for the Storm.
And the line drop out was Dusty. Aaron Moore is with the ball. He's outside the 20. Swain was neither here nor there. The drop out, if they were looking to try and get possession back, it was too deep for that. And it was nowhere near as long as Lockie could kick it. Now Denny Williams is only 5 away. They are on the ropes, Brisbane. They led by 12 in the first half. They led by 14 in the second. Orford for Kearney. Kearney's 2 metres from the line. Swain rushes into dummy half. Got to try in the first half. Not on this occasion, and that is the 5th tackle. Kearney at dummy half. Back with Orford. There's the little kick. It was trying to smother there. Prittis, he's done a good job. Webke's come up with the ball. So 3 minutes remaining. And Brisbane in possession, 15 out from their line. This was the work of Prittis trying to dive over the top of that ball. And Webke's done the same when Orford had another go.
It's a great play by Luke Prittis. He gives his team a chance. Another line drop out would have ended the day for them. But now they've got an opportunity to move the ball to the other end of the field.
Lockyer puts on a little step. Now 15 metres inside his own half. Stepped off the mark there, Lockyer. Prittis left, they work with Carlaw. Can't offload, Bell's over the top. That's tackle 4. 2.5 minutes remaining. Now Kevin Walters fires that pass. Hard for Lockyer. Over the top for Burns in the centres. And he's trapped right on halfway by Moole. 5th tackle. De Vere at dummy half. And it comes for Lockyer. They've tried to chip over the top. Webb's charging through. Robinson's back there. He was the hero last year against the Broncos. And that time in the catch the chip over the top mode.
And if you're going to chip over the top, you've got to be moving forward so that you can get some runners in competition with the ball. That time the Melbourne Storm chasers forced Lockyer to kick early. And as a result, they're able to easily get back and cover it up. This has been a pretty good performance by the Storm. 2 minutes to hold on for a great win. The Broncos will probably get one more possession to try and snatch it from their grasp.
Keep an eye on that clock, as Melbourne will play it with Kearns. And now Rodney Howe gallops up over halfway. Swain, 5th tackle. Matt Orford will kick. The wingers are back. It's gone to the wing of Lottie Takiri. He stumbles when he gets it. Now he's back on his feet, Lottie Takiri, and the defence, they're up there again. The hungry dogs, as Gus put it. And another victim. Lockyer, they pass on their goal line. Harrison's with it, gets away from Moole, away from Kearney. He's made only 5, now he makes 10. And Williams there to make the tackle with Kearns. Coming up to the final 60 seconds. Broncos down by 4. Kevin Walters rushes and caught. The offloads have just stopped now for Brisbane. Webke, straight and hard, makes 10 metres, back to the 30. Still with a few tackles up their sleeve here. Prittis out of dummy half. Numbers on that right-hand side, decides to kick. He sets his teammates an enormous assignment with Ross back. And that's just about game over.
Well, they had support on the outside there, Prittis. If you had looked right, he had 4 men up on against 2 Melbourne Storm defenders. And when he kicked that ball, all their heads went down. Probably the wrong option late in the game. They had to spin it, give it some air. There's plenty of speed out here with Saylor and De Vere. And that'll be the ball game now. Penalty goes to the Storm, 20 seconds to go. And they've played really well this second half. They absorbed what Brisbane threw at them. Brisbane scored 3 tries and they came back. A great victory to the Storm will take them back into the top 8.
Yes, they were replaced by the Warriors last night, and the Warriors down the Bulldogs, but now Melbourne moved back into the 8. And now they're right on the heels of the Roosters with this win. And well done the Melbourne Storm. And just a little bit of history for the Broncos, the most points they've scored and lost a game. Melbourne Storm in Sunday football has defeated the Brisbane Broncos by 32 points to 28.